99% of UPSC prep feels like you are studying. Only 1% actually moves you forward. The trick? Knowing the difference. At Vision IS Delhi GS Foundation, that 1% is the entire design. Classes that connect facts to frameworks. So study becomes thinking. PT 365 and Mains 365 that teach what matters, not what exists. Tests that turn mistakes into patterns, not panic. Mentorship that trims noise before it turns into burnout. A structure where even revision has intent. Stop calling it hard work if it is not progress. Join Vision IS GS Foundation course, also available through live or online classes. Batches starting at Karol Bagh, Delhi on 12 November at 8 am and 25 November at 5 pm. For more information, visit our website or call us on the given numbers.
As in, the money that is there in your pocket is limited, the coal that we have in the country is limited, iron ore is limited, water resources are limited, even sunlight, is it not limited? Which of the two is a cheaper fuel, diesel or petrol? Sasta kaun sa hai? Diesel is the cheaper one. Which of the two is a more efficient, ज़्यादा mileage कौन सी गाड़ी का होता है? Which car gives more mileage, diesel car or petrol car? As a citizen, as an individual, it's desirable that you know microeconomics. But as a member of the government, it is necessary that you know macroeconomics. What kind of depth was required to answer a particular question? And anyone who is guiding you with best of their intention, everybody would try. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Fine, good. We have had your introductory session by Harsh sir. My name is Aditya and I take economics here, and I'll be talking about, in brief, about obviously how to prepare for civil services concerning economics. Okay, I'll talk about that. So, but I'm sure that this will be asked from you several times during this session. Has anybody of you prepared already for this exam, or are you just thinking of preparing or starting to prepare? Starting to prepare, and none of you has given the exam till now? Okay, fine. Chalo. So I'll talk about economics, how to prepare for economic section of civil services. Let's break down the session into its components. First, tell me what is it that we study in the subject economics. Just as at a very broad level, tell me economics में पढ़ते क्या हैं? क्या पढ़ते हैं economics में? बताओ. हाँ? Utilization of resources, fine. What else? Anything else? हाँ? Working of economy, बड़ा generic सा term है. हाँ, in India, चलो ठीक है. और so if we study various things like, let's say, taxation, inflation, unemployment, GDP, we study all these things, ठीक है? But at its heart, economics as a subject, क्या पढ़ते हैं इसके? It's ultimately about optimum use of minimal resources, the limited resources that we have. I'm sure everybody has studied about this, has heard this phrase and studied about this problem since your childhood. Limited resources, unlimited wants. So basically, this is what that is what you study in economics. It's a study of how to optimally utilize the limited resources that are available. Now, what is optimal utilization? what is limited resource, what is unlimited wants, इन सब वर्ड्स का मतलब क्या है? लिमिटेड रिसोर्स, अब जैसे आपने बचपन से पढ़ा है लिमिटेड रिसोर्स, रिसोर्सेज आर लिमिटेड, बट इसमें कोई नई बात थोड़ी ना कि रिसोर्सेज आर लिमिटेड, एवरीथिंग इज लिमिटेड और नॉट. As in the money that is there in your pocket is limited, the coal that we have in the country is limited, iron ore is limited, water resources are limited, even sunlight, is it not limited? भाई 8 घंटे या 9 घंटे की sunlight है आपके पास, वो भी तो limited ही है. तो every resource that is there is limited in quantity. So it's not just about limited resources, it's about limiting. Limiting word का मतलब क्या है? Limiting is कि there are things that are going to limit the output, limit what can be produced. We have land, we have seeds, we have cement, we have fertilizers, we have got people to work, we have got water to spray, we have got sunlight for cultivating crops. We have limited resources. लेकिन उनमें से limit क्या करेगा output? क्या हमारे पास seeds की कमी है? क्या हमारे पास pesticides की कमी है? क्या हमारे पास worker की कमी है? तो कुछ resources होंगे, there would be some resources that would limit the output. उनको बोलेंगे हम limiting resources, जिसको हम थोड़े technical भाषा में बोलते हैं budget constraint, that there is some budget constraint. Unlimited wants का मतलब क्या है? डिजायर्स अनलिमिटेड है. अब डिजायर्स तो हर एक पर्सन के अनलिमिटेड है. क्या अंबानी जी के सारे डिजायर्स फुलफिल्ड हैं? अंबानी जी, यस, इंग्लिश, ऑल राइट, गॉट इट, फाइन, आई स्पीक, आई बीइंग माय मदर टंग आई मे इनवॉलंटरीली स्लिप बट आई विल ट्राई नॉट टू. फाइन, थैंक यू. अंबानी जी, does he has unlimited, are all his desires fulfilled? Even he has unfulfilled desires. He would want to achieve something more, gain something more, have something better in his life. So desires of people are generally, unless you are a monk somewhere, your desire, there will be some unfulfilled desires that you have. So again, when we say that we have unlimited desires, it's not about expressing that desires are unfulfilled. What we mean to say is that link these two terms, limited resources, unlimited wants. That resources are limited. That means something will limit what can be produced. And because we will produce some limited output, therefore, it's not possible to meet all the demands of everybody. People will have conflicting demands. We have got limited amount of land, water, labor, whatever. You want to cultivate apples, you want to cultivate mangoes, you want to cultivate tobacco, you want to build real estate on that. On the resources that we have, limited output can be produced, not unlimited output. That means conflicts would be there. We'll have some unfulfilled desires. And even if everybody wants mangoes, we say that the total desire for mangoes will be more than how much amount of mangoes can be produced on the limited amount of land that we have or resources that we have. We'll have much more demand as compared to the possible production or what we call as supply. That is limited resource, unlimited want. Economics is the study of this basic phenomenon. What can be produced using what is available. And when we recognize limited resource, unlimited want, we say that there are trade-offs. Trade-off, samajhte what is trade-off? Trade-off is that you have got multiple objectives which are desirable in nature. Multiple desirable objectives. But recognize that you cannot fulfill all the desires at the same time. You want to become a football player and also you want to become an IAS officer. Both are desirable objectives. But recognize the fact that with the limited resource, time that you have, energy that you have, you probably can't achieve both. You'll have to make a choice somewhere. So economics is about this choice. You study about this choice in economics. Limited resources, unlimited want. Let's apply this aspect in a more practical, more relatable sense. Government has limited or unlimited resources. Everybody will have limited resources. Limited resource in form of, let's say, time that the government has, money that the government has, time as in 5 years time that you have for your tenure. You've got limited amount of money that can be spent, budget that you have. Number of people working for the government are limited in quantity. As citizens, we would want that government spends money on building schools, but also it should spend money on building roads as well, ports as well, hospitals as well. It should give more amount of salary to its government employees, more amount of pension to its retired employees. It should give subsidies to people. There are various claims, various conflicting but desirable claims upon the government resources. You can't fulfill all the desires at the same time. You can't satisfy everybody at the same time. There has to be some sort of optimal allocation. That is what we study in economics. Is it clear to you? So this is basically what we study. And when we understand this, then it leads to a very important aspect. As an individual, you have got limited or unlimited resources. Individual के पास limited हैं कि unlimited resources हैं, बताओ. Limited resources. You want to buy a car. You have got limited amount of resource, let's say money. You want to spend 10 lakh rupees to buy a car. Let's say the budget constraint, limited amount of money that you have. You have around 10 lakh rupees, 10, 10.5, 11, 9.5. You have some limited amount of money to buy a car. You have to buy a car. I have to buy a car. I come from Noida every day. My daily running is around 70 kilometers, 35 kilometers to and fro. It's around 70 kilometers per day. I've decided upon the model of the car that I have to buy. Now I'm confused whether should I buy a diesel car or a petrol car. Which of the two is a cheaper fuel, diesel or petrol? सस्ता कौन सा है? Diesel is the cheaper one. Which of the two is a more efficient? ज़्यादा mileage कौन सी गाड़ी का होता है? Which car gives more mileage, diesel car or petrol car? Diesel car normally gives more mileage. Now don't compare Fortuner to let's say Maruti Ciaz. Same class of cars में diesel cars give more mileage as compared to petrol cars. Diesel Innova and petrol Innova, diesel Fortuner, petrol की तो Fortuner आदि भी नहीं है. Diesel is cheaper. Diesel is more efficient. Therefore, your running costs with diesel car would be more or less. Diesel is cheaper. Diesel is more efficient in the sense mileage is higher. That means running cost of your car will be more or less in case of diesel versus petrol. किसमें कम होगी running cost? Diesel will have less running cost. So let's say, take my example. Let's say because I drive 70 kilometers per day, my per day cost of fuel, if I use a diesel car will be 400 rupees. If I use a petrol car will be 500 rupees. That means let's say I save 100 rupees per day on diesel versus petrol. 100 रुपए per day मैं save कर रहा हूँ. How much do I save in 1 year, in 1 month? 100 rupees per day on an average. In 1 month, how much do I save? 3,000 rupees. In 1 year, how much do I save? Around 36,000 rupees. So let's say 30,000 rupees is what I save in 1 year, right? Which of the two cars is more expensive, diesel or petrol car? Diesel is the more expensive one. If you take the same model of car, if let's say you take Maruti Ciaz, Hyundai Verna, Honda City, if you take same car, then the diesel model will be generally more expensive as compared to the petrol variant. So let's say in this around 10-12 lakh rupees range of car, the diesel car is 1 lakh rupees expensive as compared to petrol car. Diesel की गाड़ी 1 लाख रुपया 1 lakh rupees expensive है as compared to petrol car. How much were you saving in running a diesel car per year? Around 30k. How many years will it take for you to break even? Break even समझते हो सब लोग? 3 year break even, as in you would have paid a premium to buy a diesel car 1 lakh rupees versus you are saving around 30k per year on running a diesel car. That means it will take you around 3 years, around 3 years for you to recover your investments that you made in diesel car. Break even time is 3 years. So the question that we have to ask for optimal use of limited resources is, for how much time do you plan to keep your car? Do you plan to keep your car for 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, or 6 years? If I ask you in how much time do you plan to change your car and you say 2 years, what is the optimal choice, to buy a petrol car or a diesel car? Petrol car. Get this point? Suppose optimal use of limited resources, then it makes sense for you to buy a petrol car. If you buy a diesel car today, because you thought that your running expenses would be less, and you end up changing your car in 2 years. You bought a diesel car today, you ended up changing a car in 2 years. Your money therefore was optimally or suboptimally utilized? Suboptimally utilized. Your money was suboptimally utilized. Who is going to suffer because of this suboptimal utilization? You will suffer or somebody else will suffer? You will yourself suffer or not? Will anybody else suffer because of that? No, only you will suffer because of that, because your resources were suboptimally utilized. आपका पैसा, your money, आपको आग लगानी, to burn your money, you burn your money. Nobody is stopping you from burning the money. But the fact is, your money has been suboptimally utilized. Is this clear to everybody? Which of the two, diesel versus petrol, is a more polluting vehicle? Which fuel burns dirty, diesel or petrol? Diesel. Diesel is a dirtier fuel. I'm sure you have been breathing in the very clean air that is enhancing 3 years of your life every year, right? So diesel is the dirtier of two fuel. For the society as a whole, what is a better choice? Society should be preferring to buy diesel cars or petrol cars. For society as a whole, individually, we have talked about that. Now I'm talking about from the society's perspective, which is the better car. Petrol is a better car because it's a less polluting fuel. You are in government of India. You are a bureaucrat in Ministry of Finance or Ministry of Environment, whatever. And as a bureaucrat, you see that it is better that people in the country are tempted, are willing to buy more petrol cars than diesel cars. You propose a tax of 1 lakh rupees on diesel car. The diesel being the dirtier fuel, diesel cars will attract an environmental tax of 1 lakh rupees, making the diesel car not 1 but 2 lakh rupees expensive than the petrol car. Because diesel car is not 2 lakh rupees more expensive. What happens to the break-even time? It becomes 6 years. Break-even time that was 3 years becomes around 6 years. Therefore, what happens to people's choices? People's, individuals' choice. What happens to those choices? Many people will now shift towards buying petrol cars versus diesel cars. Not. Those who were breaking even in 4 years or 5 years, now they will shift towards petrol cars or not. Why? Because it doesn't make sense to buy a diesel car now, as in pay that premium of 2 lakh rupees in buying a diesel car. Get this point? Society as a whole benefits or not? From this decision, society as a whole benefits. Why? Because now let's say we have got less pollution in society. This decision that was taken to impose an additional 1 lakh rupees of tax on diesel car, I'll repeat, the decision of imposing additional 1 lakh rupees of tax on diesel car, this decision impacts one particular person on everybody as a whole. Impacts everybody as a whole. That means not one person's, but everybody's resources are now being geared towards, are now being nudged towards being optimally utilized. Not one person loses or wins. Not the bureaucrat. As a bureaucrat, I may have to buy my car myself. But now, because of that tax was taken into consideration. That tax was implemented by taking into consideration the impact it has on everybody, not on one particular person. It's not about using one person's resource, but everybody's resource in an optimal manner. Is this clear? The decision is not towards a micro entity, but towards a macro entity. This is the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. I'm sure you have heard these terms, micro and macro. Micro and macro. Economics is about optimal use of limited resources. Optimal use of limited resources. Everybody has limited resources. An individual, a family, a community, a society, everybody has limited resources. What is your focus of study? Do you want to optimize limited resource use for a micro, as in microscopic entity, or for everybody taken together, but not for anybody in particular? We'd want optimal use for both people. You would want that your own resources are optimally utilized, and you would also want that everybody's resources are optimally utilized. If one person's resources are suboptimally utilized, that person suffers. If the societies as a whole resources are suboptimally utilized, the whole society suffers. Who can take decisions for others? Who can take decisions for yourself? Which AC do you have to buy, a 3-star or 5-star AC? Which car you have to buy, a diesel car or petrol car? Which mobile phone should you buy with the limited resources? Who will take that decision? You will yourself take that decision. But who can take a decision to impose a tax upon you? Who can take decisions for others? कौन ले सकता है दूसरों के लिए decisions? वो केवल सरकार ले सकती है decision. दूसरों के लिए decision. For others, you can't take decision for him, but government can take decisions for everybody. So, you have come to this open session to how to prepare for civil services, meaning I'm assuming you're willing to prepare for civil services and you're willing to become part of government. As a member of government, you would be in that position to take decisions for others or not. As an individual, you would be required to take your own decisions. But as a member of the government, you would have an additional responsibility to take decisions for others as well. Not just for yourself, but for others as well. It would be desirable if you are trained in microeconomics. But it is absolutely necessary that you are trained in macroeconomics. If you don't know microeconomics, you will end up not using your own resources well. I don't care whether you waste your resources or not. But if you're not trained in macroeconomics and you are part of government, then you will end up using society's resources in a suboptimal manner. That is what I care about. So when you want to become part of government, I'll repeat, as a citizen, as an individual, it's desirable that you know microeconomics. But as a member of the government, it is necessary that you know macroeconomics. And because you're preparing for this government exam, therefore, our focus for this exam preparation is macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is what our major syllabus of economics is. Have you understood this part? Macroeconomics. Why is it that we study macro? Micro, macro mein koi antar nahi. There is no difference between micro and macro. Both are talking about optimal use of limited resources only. It's simply the entity in focus which is changing. Do you want to utilize the resources maximum for, in best way for an individual or a firm or a sector or an industry or the economy as a whole or some big region? An individual is poor, your individual's state. The society has poverty, society is state. An individual is unemployed. Why are you unemployed? Micro, individual. There might be 100 reasons as to why you are unemployed. You might not have skills. You might not have knowledge of technology. You might be facing seasonal unemployment. But what is unemployment rate in the country? How can we talk about reducing unemployment in the country as a whole? Macro aspect. How much output does Vision IAS produce? How many students are enrolled? What is the value of output that we are producing? That is for one firm, specific, micro aspect. How much output is the economy as a whole producing? Macro aspect. Is this clear? How much amount of money does a firm have? Micro aspect. How much amount of money do everybody in the economy taken together does the economy have? Macro aspect. Is this clear to everybody? Macro. We are focused in our preparation for this exam upon macroeconomics, not so much on microeconomics, but again, I'll repeat, there is absolutely no difference between macro and micro. It's simply application. Do we want to apply these optimization principles for an individual or a firm or for the economy as a whole? That is what our macroeconomics is. And with this, let me introduce you to the syllabus. कि भाई हमारा syllabus क्या है इस exam, इस subject का. We'll focus, as I said, on macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is, broadly speaking, what our objective is. And within macroeconomics, you're going to study various topics such as developmental economics, which has chapters of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Then we study basic macroeconomics, where you study chapter on national income accounting, this is basically the GDP chapter, GDP and inflation. Then you move to the more advanced part, which is money. Money and finance, where you study money and monetary policy, banking and capital markets. Then we move to external sector, where we study the topics of balance of payments, exchange rates, foreign investments, current account deficit, and institutions, World Bank, IMF, WTO. बता रहा हूँ मुझे पता है, मुझे खुद समझ नहीं आता मैं क्या लिखता हूँ. And finally, we have got government budgeting and fiscal policy. Simply fiscal, sorry. Government budgeting, deficits and debt, taxation, policies, planning, infra, industry, agriculture. I'll read out, don't worry, I'll read out. I know. This is broadly what our syllabus is for this exam. Broadly speaking, ये syllabus है. Developmental economics, that has these three main topics: poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Then you have got basic macroeconomics, where we study national income accounting. This is basically the GDP chapter, and inflation. Then we have got money and finance, where you study money, monetary policy, money demand, money supply, all these things, which is basically RBI topic. And then we study banking and capital markets, banking, stock markets, NBFC. This is over here. Then there is external sector, where you study balance of payments, BOP, current account, capital account, inflows, outflows, exports, imports, remittances, services. Yes, we study over here. Exchange rates, $1 equal to 80 rupees, 90 rupees. That is exchange rate, different kind of system. All these real, nominal, all these things. Foreign investments, FDI, FPI, current account, CADs, current account deficit, CAD. Institutions, we have got World Bank, IMF, and WTO. Then we study fiscal policy. The last topic is government budgeting, accounting in budget, what is revenue account, capital account, what kind of various expenses we have, revenue expense, capital expense, deficits of the government, fiscal deficit, primary deficit, deficits, debt, taxation. Finally, policies. In policies, we study planning, infrastructure, investments, industry, agriculture, etc. We study these things. So broadly, this is what is our syllabus. ये हमारा syllabus है. Now, how to prepare? जो हमारा main session का मुद्दा है, how to prepare for this exam. This is what our syllabus is. Sources and method. कहाँ से prepare करना है? What is the first source of preparation? NCERT. कहाँ से पता चला NCERT? सुना है everybody says NCERT पढ़ो है ना. I also say NCERT पढ़ो, obviously yes. First source, the first and foremost primary source, and this is the key takeaway that you people are going to take from this session over here. Key takeaway, as in why have you come over here in such pollution? तो ये सबसे important चीज़ है. First source, it's not exactly NCERT, it is, but not exactly NCERT. The first source is PYQs. That is the first source, previous year questions. Sadly, people are of this belief, they have been told this thing, that you do PYQs at the end. Once you're prepared, then you do PYQs. I will do PYQs once I am done with my preparation. There is no time when you are fully prepared. There will never be a time when you are fully prepared. Ask a person who has given 5 attempts and ask them, have you done this thing or fully prepared? They will not be fully prepared. There will never be a time when you are fully prepared. What is the best time to do PYQs? The best time is to start your preparation with PYQs. Why do you need to start with PYQs? Kya economics pad li? Have you studied economics? No, you have not. You are learning about the subject, as in this is not even a class, this is simply an open session. You have not studied economics. You can't solve previous year questions of economics. You can't solve them. That's a fact. Even if you can solve a few questions, that would be completely a fluke. You don't know the answer. You don't know the logic. You can't solve them. Even if you can, that would simply be because merely that luck favored. You knew the answer to that question. आपको आता नहीं है basically वो चीज़. And even then I'm saying you start your preparation with previous year questions. Why? Where did I get to know कि syllabus में ये चीज़ें हैं? ये मुझे कैसे पता चला? Have you seen UPSC's syllabus? Have you seen the notification and seen what is written in prelims syllabus and main syllabus? Completely vague terms are given. Completely vague. Developmental economics, planning, welfare, government schemes, investment models, agriculture. They have expanded agriculture so much. What is it that they will ask in agriculture? Nobody knows that. What is that they are going to ask? What is our guide of preparation? As I said, these next 5 minutes, these are the key takeaways from this particular session. What is the guide of our preparation? The guiding light. Syllabus में क्या है? क्या पढ़ना है? Previous year questions में क्या? What has been asked in previous year questions? PYQs are a guide of your preparation. During your preparation, everybody that you come across, everybody, your teachers, your mentors, your friends, your parents, your well-wishers, everybody that you come across, everybody with best of their intentions, everybody will corrupt your preparation, quote unquote, corrupt your preparation. Corrupt means what? everybody will tell you, ye padh lo, study this, this is important, not important, read this topic, this chapter, and so on and so forth. Read this from here, read that from there. Everybody will tell you with the best of their intentions. But the fact is, they are not giving your exam, you are giving your exam. If something is asked, not asked from that, who will be responsible? You will be responsible, nobody else is responsible. If I tell you, read this and don't read something else, and this is not asked, something else is asked, you are the one who's going to suffer, not me. I'm not giving the exam, you are giving the exam. Suno sabki. Listen to everybody, do what you have to do. But to do what you have to do, it's not my life, my rules, my life, my rules. To do what you have to do, you must be capable to do what you have to do. It's not as if that I ask you, there's a marathon going on, please go and run in that marathon. Bhagna hi to hai, bachpan se bhagte hain, we have been running since childhood, we can simply go and run in the marathon. No, it's not that easy. Go and have a look at the track. Go and see what kind of gear, what kind of clothes are you going to wear, what kind of shoes do you require. Can you sustain that marathon for, let's say, 10, 11, 12, if not 21 kilometers, 42 kilometers, can you sustain it for 10, 15 kilometers? Or are you going to give up? Once committed, you are going to give up within 2 kilometers only. First, go and observe the rules of the game. See what is asked. Look at previous year questions and see what kind of depth, what kind of breadth is required. I will say that study this particular thing. But when you look at previous year question, then you will realize what kind of depth was required to answer a particular question. And anyone who is guiding you with best of their intention, everybody would try to undermine the depth because they are not giving the exam. I'm sure you might have, I'll give just an example. I'm sure you would have heard something called as repo rate. Suna hoga tum logon ne. Pata nahi hoga kya hota hai, ho sakta hai, maybe you know what is repo rate, maybe you don't know. But there's something that we come across on a regular basis in, let's say, newspapers when we talk about monetary policy. You might know what is repo rate. You might know what is a CRR or SLR or something, some other monetary policy tools that you might know. I don't know whether you know about these things right now or not, but you probably will get to know when you start studying economics. But when you look at question with respect to repo rate or CRR in the previous year questions, question is not going to be easy. It's not simply going to be a definition. Okay, what is repo rate? Aapne padh liya, you studied what repo rate was. Exam mein question alag hi level ka pucha hua hai. And there you are surprised, your paper mushkil hai. The exam, the paper is very tough this year. Every year when students come after the exam, every year they are surprised. Yaar, is saal ka to bahut mushkil paper. This year's paper was very difficult. No, my dear, last year was also difficult. Before that was also difficult. Before that was also difficult. It has never been easy. It's just that you are realizing about its difficulty for the first time. Why to be surprised? Why to be shocked when you are giving the paper after first attempt rather than seeing the previous year questions first? Look at PYQs first. Now, how do you look at PYQs? How do you start with PYQs? As I said, you can't solve PYQs. You have not studied economics or history or polity. You can't solve PYQs. How do you begin with PYQs? Go back, when you go back today, open YouTube, write down on YouTube, open session previous year paper discussion. Last 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, 7 years, there is no number to this. You should have prepared for last 5 years or 7 years. There's no number, whatever you're comfortable with. Don't want to see me, don't want to see Vision as faculty, don't want to see somebody else, please. Every institute has this on the YouTube. PW has, an academy has, Next IE has, a Vision. Everybody has on the YouTube channel. I'm assuming everybody, but we have our on YouTube channel. So look at previous year questions, as in look at previous year papers discussion on YouTube. Do not pause. Do not pause and try to answer. You can't answer. But let's say if I am discussing a question, in that question, I would definitely say, okay, this question is from this topic. This option is from some other topic. This option was asked because it was in news. Because let's say Modi ji said something, or some Nirmala ji said something, or Donald Trump ji said something. This was in news because of these things. Sri Lanka had a crisis, therefore IMF had to give loan to them, and this question is from there. When you are listening to these statements, not this solution, जब पता ही नहीं तो क्या solution करोगे यार, जब पता ही नहीं आपको सवाल के बारे में, when you don't know the question, you don't know the explanation, but listen to these statements. Then what is happening is your hidden spots are getting awakened. Okay, when you study economics, when you look at these things in newspapers, then you try to realize, okay, this is where I can link these things, this is where they can be asked. That is how I have to prepare. PYQs are the most important source of preparation. In fact, the most important first source of preparation. For you to be able to do what you have to do, karo suno sabki karo apni. For you to be able to do what you have to do, you must be capable to do that. How do you become capable? You become capable by looking at PYQs first. So look at PYQs before you begin your preparation, right? Do not try to solve them. You can't solve them. Just listen. Listen on 1.5x speed, a YouTube video of last 5 years. And from that, you will get an idea. What is the syllabus? What questions have been asked from which chapters? What kind of breadth, what kind of depth is required to answer those questions? This is what PYQs do, fine? Once you do PYQs, then naturally you need a conceptual understanding. Where do you get conceptual understanding from? Then you need some, as in conceptual understanding. Here you require two key aspects. You can do with one also, but two are important. One is obviously NCERTs. NCERTs, class 11th and 12th. You want to go more backwards, you want to study 9th and 10th NCERT, please go ahead and study those NCERTs. Before you ask this, let me address it as it is. Why should you study 9th and 10th NCERTs? I'll just deviate for a moment. This goes for any subject, not just economics, for polity, history, geography, whatever. Why should you study 9th and 10th NCERT? 11th and 12th NCERT gives you all the concepts that are required. These books are sufficient, but assuming that you have chosen English medium, assuming that thing, English is not any of our mother tongue, right? It's an adopted language, and because of that, our command over language is not so good. And because command is, don't answer this to me, answer it to yourself. How good of a command that you have on the language. Trust me, I tell this. I take economics in my classes. I take around 50-55 lectures of economics. Even if my students understand everything that I'm explaining, which is quite rare, even then I tell this honestly to them. सारा कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आने के बाद भी आप एग्जाम में गलत आंसर मार्क करके आओगे. Even if you understand everything that I've taught, you will still probably end up marking wrong answer in the exam. Why? Because the question would not merely be economics question. It is also equally an English language comprehension question. You might have knowledge of the concept, but you'll still not understand the question properly. And that requires English language, a superb command on the language. This exam is equally about, as in, if one thing was most important, communication skills are most important in the exam. Reading skills, comprehending skills, in mains writing skills, in interview speaking skills, presentation skills, all your communication skills. These skills are extremely important. Your polity, your history, your environment or economics, all these are one subject, but all these are linking you to the exam via communication skills. So communication is the most important part in this exam. And how do you develop a command over language? You don't develop command over English language by reading newspapers. Sorry, no. आपको अगर ये बताया जाता है कि अखबार पढ़ो, read newspapers and you will develop command over the language. No, you will never develop command over language by reading newspapers. How do you develop that command? By reading simple things. 9th and NCERTs are written in simple language. Same concept in class 11th, 12th may be presented in a little bit more complicated manner. But 9th, 10th is even more simpler. So you start from there. So 9th then serves the purpose of understanding of concepts plus building a command over language. Punctuations, commas, full stops, the, and all these things. Sentence formation. This is that you learn from by reading 9th and NCERT. So please read them if you want to answer it to yourself ki how good of a command you have over the language. If you have decent command, then 11th, 12th are more than enough. Otherwise, 9th, 10th bhi padh lena. There are 3 NCERTs of 11th and 12th. One is microeconomics, one is macroeconomics, and other is Indian economy. Indian economy, you have to read it, no doubt about that. Macroeconomics, again, you have to read it. Microeconomics. If right now I say कि micro मत पढ़ना, me corrupting your preparation. अभी बता ना corruption of preparation. अगर मैंने आपको बोल दिया कि माइक्रो से एग्जाम में सवाल नहीं आता है और एग्जाम में सवाल आ गया, मैं थोड़ा ना एग्जाम, I'm not giving the exam, you're the one who's giving the exam. So it's up to you whether you want to read micro or not, but थोड़ा सा trust कर लो मेरे ऊपर. Questions on microeconomics from microeconomics are very rare. They have been asked, their questions are there, but are very rare, and to my understanding, those questions can be answered without specifically studying microeconomics. If you have good command over macro, you can still answer those questions because, as I said, the principles are same. Simply the focus entity is changing. In one case, you want optimal use of limited resources on a micro entity, in another case, a macro entity. Principles in forming micro macro are same, but just the application would be different. So you could answer those questions that have been asked without reading microeconomics. So micro optional, if you want to read, you can read, but macro and Indian economy, you have to study these things. Apart from that, you will need a comprehensive source. क्योंकि मन नहीं मानता एनसीईआरटी पढ़ने से, लगता है कि कुछ वी ऑलवेज थिंक दैट समथिंग हैज बीन लेफ्ट. You would want a source which is comprehensive, which is error free, which is as far as possible updated. That is what you want in any source. Don't talk about a book. Simply think about what is it that you need in a source. Something that covers most of syllabus, previous year questions can be reasonably answered from that. Them is conceptually sound, doesn't have lot of errors, and as far as possible is updated. For that, again, there's a conflict of interest in my suggestion, but it is up to you. It is up to you. A coaching institute material should be good enough, should be more than enough. In our case, as in I don't know about any other coaching institutes, I can't vouch for their material. Our institute's material, VIES material, it's available in the market. You can, I mean, you don't have to take admission to purchase the material, obviously. It's available in the market, you can refer to that material. Or if you don't want to study from the material, completely your choice. You're not comfortable because your friend is studying some book, you want to read that book also. I'll just give one advice over here. मेरे 2 cents ले लो, बस एक advice है. Whatever material you are choosing, as in a coaching institute material, Vision IS, somebody else's, or a book that you are choosing, stick to one source. Please stick to one source. Do not let anybody else come and tell you this topic is given very good in somebody else's notes, in this book or that book. You are not here to become a book collector. क्या बनने आए हो? डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर बनने आए हो, बुक कलेक्टर नहीं बनने आए हो. बुक्स पढ़ो, बुक्स पढ़ना बहुत है. यू रीड बुक्स, एज इन देयर आर लॉट ऑफ गुड बुक्स, बट नो नीड टू रीड दीज यूपीएससी कंटेंट बुक्स, राइट? दैट्स नॉट व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड. So stick to any one source. Read a material of a coaching institute, a reputed coaching institute, or read any book. All books are good. All books are sold in the market. Just go to the bookshop, ask भैया सबसे ज़्यादा किताब कौन सी बिकती है इकोनॉमिक्स की, वो किताब ले लेना, जो भी किताब वो बोलेंगे, ठीक है? मैंने पर्सनली नहीं पढ़ी है, मैं कोई किताब, आई कांट वाउच फॉर एनी ऑफ दोज बुक्स, बट येस, यू कैन रीड एनी ऑफ द बुक्स दैट यू वांट, राइट? दैट इज सोर्स. देन द थर्ड फाइनल सोर्स इज ऑब्वियसली करंट अफेयर्स. वी हैव गॉट मंथली करंट अफेयर्स, विजन आईएएस. ये फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है, मालूम होगा तुम लोगों को. अगर नहीं मालूम है तो मैं तुमको बता देता हूँ. मंथली करंट अफेयर्स मैगजीन हमारी हर महीने हम प्रिंट करते हैं. इफ यू आर नॉट अ स्टूडेंट, यू विल नॉट गेट द हार्ड कॉपी, बट यू कैन स्टिल गेट द सॉफ्ट कॉपी फ्रॉम आवर वेबसाइट. अवेलेबल फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट फॉर एवरीबडी, मंथली करंट अफेयर्स. सो दिस इज अ वेरी गुड फ्री सोर्स. प्लीज ऑब्वियसली रीड दैट, बट ऑब्वियसली द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट सोर्स इज न्यूज़पेपर. In fact, I should have written newspaper first and monthly current affairs. This is first and MCA second. Newspaper, don't read MCA, but read this. There is no sacrifice over here. Newspaper is the most important source, the most important. So there is absolutely no substitute of this thing, newspaper. Everybody who gets selected by reading newspapers only. Newspaper is that source, which is source of questions, which is source of conceptual knowledge, and will link all your knowledge and current affairs across multiple chapters. I'll just take 5 more minutes and then I'll end this discussion. There is a problem, let me say, use the word problem for lack of a better word, or there's a unique feature of this subject, economics. And that is why many students, I don't know fear is the right word or not, but many students are not so comfortable in this subject, economics. The reason is quite simple. Why are they not comfortable? The reason is क्लास करने के बाद भी सवाल सॉल्व नहीं होते हैं. When you will attend 55-60 lectures, you will read these things, even then you will be in that position, यार क्वेश्चन सॉल्व नहीं हो रहे हैं, फिर लगे यार सवाल जब सॉल्व हो ही नहीं रहे तो फिर why should I attend all these classes, why should I waste my time on this thing? That's a unique problem. Why does economics have that problem? Understand this thing. Economics का जो question है, what you see in your prelims or mains exam, the question is not bound by these chapters. We will study economics in chapter format in the class. But the question is not bound by the chapter. The question would be, the statement would be from inflation. Option 1 is from current account deficit, 2 from exchange rate, 3rd from government policy, 4th from some unemployment thing. And all 4 statements might be right over that. That means to answer that question, you required knowledge of, clear understanding of all these 5 topics together, not just one topic. You can't segregate. आप ये नहीं है कि आप, अब ये थोड़ा सा यूनिक बात आ जाती है. This is not, let's say, me trying to sell my subject as being the more intellectually stimulating one and the others not as that. Every subject has their own unique problems, own unique challenges. This is not like, let's say, history or polity that you can say, okay, I'll study fundamental rights and DPSPs and not some other part. If question on FR is asked, then you can answer that question. As in, there is a way to limit your preparation. But in economics case, a question will span multiple topics at the same time. That means it's not possible for you to say, okay, I've done this chapter and I'm ignoring the other chapters. You need a complete understanding of all the chapters taken together. And that becomes very challenging in itself. You can't segregate into these topics. But there, because there's a problem, there will be solution also. Newspaper comes to our great rescue. Is news bound by the chapter that we studied in the class? News to bound nahi hai na. But news mein, if somebody is writing an article or Modi ji saying something, Nirmala ji saying something, some critique says some critique of government policy says something, then they will not limit themselves to only inflation. They'll talk about inflation and unemployment and monetary policy and government's taxes. They'll talk about all these things taken together. So when you read news in newspaper, that news is not bound by chapters, will be actually spanning all these aspects. So newspaper becomes the most important source of our preparation. Is this clear? So this is broadly how you prepare for this exam, for this subject. Start with PYQs, look at the videos, as in just look at the breadth and depth of question that is asked. Build a conceptual understanding from NCRTs and a comprehensive source which is updated, error-free, and as far as possible covers most of the topics. Our material is really good Vision as material, but it's your choice. You want to study from some other source, it's completely up to you. And the third source is newspapers and revising them from monthly current affairs. That is broadly speaking how you prepare for economics for this exam. Okay? Clear hai? Now, I'm done with this. If anyone has any questions specific to the subject or in general, please do ask. I'll take up your question for around 5 minutes. If not, then I'll take your leave. कुछ पूछना है किसी को? Anything with respect to this exam or economics in general, economics in particular or exam in general, anything anyone wants to ask? कुछ भी चीज़ पूछना चाहते हो पूछ सकते हो. Take your time, take 30-40 seconds to frame your question. If you want, I'll answer, otherwise I'll take your leave. नहीं? You're all from DU? Anybody? As in, you're all studying here in this, staying here in this area, nearby area only? Okay. ठीक है? चलो, बोलो हाँ बोलो. बेटा यही मैं बोल रहा था. You don't have to become a book collector. This is where corruption preparation comes in. As a student, you would be tempted to cover everything. Covering everything is not possible and not required. You would come and point out fingers at the teacher कि sir आपने ये चीज़ नहीं पढ़ाई. Or you will point out fingers at the book or the material that this book doesn't have that topic. And this question was asked in the exam, ignoring the 19 other topics that were taught or were there in the book. You earn a right to come and point fingers at me, as in not me particularly, but anybody in general, as in a person or a book, when you answer those remaining 19 questions correctly. So do not, this is a very big attitudinal shift that is required for you to, as in become a part of this exam journey and have a reasonable chance of selection. If you are thinking from the perspective, if you start thinking in this manner, मुझे एक source दे दो बस, वो पढ़ लूंगा मैं, मेरा selection हो जाएगा. If you think from this perspective, give me one source, give me one book, some magical book, and I will study from that, and that will cover everything, and that would be it. There is no such book that exists. Teachers will post their videos, their shorts, institute will post their videos. हाँ भाई, all the questions were asked from our classroom. बच्चों से पूछो ना, बच्चों की उन्होंने सवाल किए हैं एग्जाम में कि नहीं किए हैं. So as an institute, as a business, our competition is somewhere else. As a student, your interest lies somewhere else. Your interest should not be to solve 20 questions. It should be to solve as many questions as you could. So for that is why I said PYQs and these sources. If you focus on, don't become a book collector. If you focus on these sources, you would be in a reasonable position to answer the questions required for getting selected in the exam. ठीक है, that is what my point is. Don't try to bother for कि भाई यहाँ somebody says ये topic यहाँ से पढ़ लेना, नहीं पढ़ना, मुझे बात खत्म हो गई. मेरे I have a source, I'll study from that source itself. Fine, ठीक है, चलो. Anything else? Yeah. Can you tell me what is dynamic versus what is static? Can you distinguish between current affairs and static? Again, let me answer the question. Completely acceptable coming from a student. As students, we get into these distinctions, which is very, very harmful for us. Sir, I want to study the static part and not the current affairs part, or current affairs and not the static part. There is no distinction between current affairs and static. There is no distinction. What is current affairs? Current affairs simply some static elements that are gaining prominence in discussions today. Because Supreme Court gives a judgment on something. Supreme Court, some cases going on some article in the Constitution, Supreme Court is talking about that. Does that become current affairs or static then? Because RBI is changing repo rate because of some change in monetary policy or some fiscal policy, does that become current affairs or static? Don't get into these distinctions of current affairs versus statics. You study concepts, and when you look at concepts, current affairs, they become a way to understand the concepts in totality, understand the concepts in a much better way. You have studied from Lakshmikant or Constitution, or let's say some book about what is a particular concept. Okay, this is article 14 or 15, 16, or this is a particular concept over here. But when same thing is happening in current affairs, in news, then you're developing a much better understanding of that concept. So don't separate that I have to study current affairs versus static. There is no distinction. Do not make this distinction. Students have suffered a lot because of this distinction. I've focused only on static part. I did not do current affairs. But why did you not do current affairs? What is this static part? Current affairs would only have enhanced your static understanding. Okay? So don't get into this distinction. Fine. There might be something which is purely current affairs of nature, such as, let's say, some policy that the government has come up with. Government says we're coming up with some new scheme, for example. Now that new scheme, might be, yes, we have, let's say, Kisan Sampada Yojana, PM Kisan Yojana. There is a scheme. Now that has less basis in a concept over it, that becomes purely current affairs wala part. That is a different case. For those things, every current affair element would be as random as the other one. You can't then study about Modi ji went to this country, that country. ये current affairs का question है. Arrange the countries in which he visited in a particular order. पहले किस में गए, दूसरी बार किस में गए. ये भी तो current affairs का सवाल है. अब there is no limit to such things. So government has come up with some schemes. The schemes that you recall are more than enough. Don't don't waste too much of your time and take pressure over here that you did not know about some random scheme named after some random person. Don't bother that too much about those things. Focus on understanding concept and building concepts better through current affairs, not news that take place around you. That is how you go about preparation. Okay, got it? Chalo. With this, I'll take your leave, everybody. Take care. All the best. The next teacher, Himanshu sir, is over here. He'll talk about history. Fine. Chalo.